Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lieutenant Colonel Michael Willis, and with me today is Major Patricia Fisk-Moody, and we're here to talk about the National Mentorship Program. So thank you for having us at the North Carolina Wing Conference, and we want to provide some really critical information for you on the National Mentoring Program. Like I said, my name is Lieutenant Colonel Michael Willis. I am the Assistant Director of National Mentoring. And Major, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Major Patricia Fisk-Moody, and I have the honor of being on the National Mentoring Committee as the Assistant Manager of Recognition.
Thank you, ma'am. And one of the things that our program started off with actually a year ago, January, so we're in our 13th month, is our national commander at that time, Major General Smith, had a passion for mentoring. Major General Felka also has a passion for mentoring. As you can see from his overall mission vision statement for our organization, we are volunteers serving America's community, saving lives, and shaping futures. A lot of people just assume that last little part, the shaping futures, is mostly about cadets. However, you may be surprised to know that General Felka specifically loves the mentoring program because it shapes our future as adults. But I may be giving something away that the Major is going to talk about here in a few minutes. But I want you to think about what that means and think about how you can help shape your future as well as shape others. Major?
Okay, everyone, I just want you to, let's do something together. I want you to close your eyes with me. Go ahead, close your eyes. And I want you to think about someone who was maybe one person, maybe more than one person, that was a really good mentor to you. And I bet that person put a smile on your face, didn't they? If you don't mind, why don't you put their name in the chat so we can see who those people are? And I know in my career, both in CAP and my professional career, I've had a lot of wonderful mentors. And one of the best mentors I ever had when I was having a really difficult time and didn't know if I was going to make it or not through the program that I was in, she said something to me that has stuck with me, and I've shared it with everyone that I can when we're talking about mentoring and helping people through programs. And here's what she said. And maybe think about this as Lieutenant Colonel Willis and I speak about mentoring today. She said, "I'm a stranger to you now, but come walk with me a while because I've been where you are and where you are about to go. I may not have all the answers, but I offer you instead my hands and my heart and my listening ear so that maybe one day you too will turn to someone and be a mentor and say, I'm a stranger to you now. Come walk with me a while." Today, Lieutenant Colonel Willis and I are going to cover several things about the National Mentoring Program. First, we're going to talk about program leadership. Then we're going to share with you the mentoring team, talk about what part you play in the mentoring program. We're going to share the national objectives, some mentoring topics that we can cover in the mentoring program, how to actually register if you want to be a mentor, next steps, and then we will end with some questions that you can put in the chat. Colonel Willis?
Thank you, ma'am. So I'd like to introduce you to our mentoring team here. We are under the direction of Colonel Rose Hunt, who, if you don't know her, she is probably the biggest Civil Air Patrol cheerleader and just a huge supporter of humans, as she likes to say. She's assisted by myself, Colonel James Ridley, and Major Valerie Jaffe. We have an entire advisory committee, and the secretary of that committee is Colonel Mike Saley. And then we're separated into different areas, each with a focus on one of the aspects of the mentoring program. So obviously, we're going to be talking about lots of people. We need to have data. Data is important. So our database manager is Lieutenant Colonel Dan Roman. Our mentor registration and evaluation team is headed by Major Shannon Bromfield, and she's assisted by Major Hazeltine and Lieutenant Colonel Nova. Our onboard training manager is Colonel Celeste Gamache. She is an excellent example of great servant leadership as well as a wonderful trainer. Then pairing, the last part of matching up individual mentors and mentees, that's actually me, and I'm assisted by Lieutenant Colonel Peter Morford. Our leadership development manager is Colonel Jim Ridley, and we'll be talking about the leadership development programs that he's running. Our recognition manager is Lieutenant Colonel Smith. She's assisted by Major Fisk-Moody and Colonel Brian Cooper. Marketing, can't get enough of that. We want you guys to know all about us, and so that's headed up by Colonel Paul Hurdle, and he is assisted by Colonel Torp Henderson. Our continuing education and training manager is Chief Corey Feltz. He's doing a phenomenal job there, making sure our mentors get continuing education. We have more on that in a minute. Our cadet, which is a new thing, our cadet mentor manager is Major Jaffe, and our the Spots Association mentor supervisor is Captain Murray. We also have a newsletter, and that's edited by Colonel Nussbaum, and our webpage editors are Captain Morrissey and Captain Fink. However, the most important member of the team is there, the mentors and mentees, and that's all of you. We're all here to support you. I mentioned the continuing education and training. That is a aspect of our program that actually, I'll touch on in a minute, but is actually one of the cornerstones of why we're wanting to get this rolling and what value we think we provide the most. If you were a person who works in admin and you're still referencing the MML, and if you know what I mean, you've probably been in CAP a while, but you don't have the most current knowledge if you're referencing things that are 20 years old. So the continuing education team not only helps with identifying new and better ways to be a mentor, but to use your ears and to use your heart to actually help. This is exclusively run up by our NCO program. And we have some wonderful sergeants in here, such as Sergeant Matthews, Sergeant Cordova, Sergeant Perham, Master Sergeant Weir, Sergeant Barone, and Sergeant Jett. All of these NCOs work together to create a valuable aspect of our team. But what is it about? So I want you all to think, kind of like what the Major did earlier, think about that mentor. Think about the mentor, your last mentor that you may have had in your local unit. Does your unit have a formal mentoring program? How effective is that program? You guys are more than likely going to be mentoring on specialty tracks and promotions, emergency services, all of those types of things. One of the questions we get commonly is does this program make the local program go away? Absolutely not. What we're here to do is actually to supplement, to help. Like I mentioned with all the continuing eds, all those sergeants are putting good information out into teams, creating videos for mentors to really advance their training. If you have a local mentoring program, we would encourage you to let us know about that so we can get everything set up and make sure that your mentor has access to all the tools and training opportunities that we have for them. It's not about stopping, it's about enhancing. Now, when I mentioned what the national program is, what are the benefits? I've already mentioned a lot about education, but it's basically giving you an entire country's worth of mentors at your fingertips. We all know there are some units that, quite honestly, have to rebuild or are rebuilding, especially after COVID. Sometimes the people that had that expertise locally either aren't with the program or haven't had the opportunity to come back. This is where the program really can provide a great lift. If you're wanting to be the wing historian, well, we can get you hooked up with a historian from around the nation. Or if you are at a small unit that's really wanting to get emergency services started again and just don't even know where to begin, that's another thing that we can help with. Again, not so much that groups and wings don't have those resources available, but this is something to lessen that impact on those people. We all have lives outside of Civil Air Patrol, or at least some people do. I don't know about, my wife would probably disagree on that for me. But that being said, this is where we add a lot of value. So how does it work? Like I mentioned, if you are wanting to be mentored, we have a online form, put in what you're looking for. I do ask you to be fairly specific, because if you're looking for a person who is a historian, finance, wing commander, who also is an IC, we may have difficulty finding one person to meet that. But make sure that you let us know what's most important to you. And we take that information, and if you want to be a mentor, we ask you all the same questions. We have pretty much a one-for-one reference. So we ask you the same questions and we get those answers. And that allows us to pair those quality mentors with members that want to be mentored. We call them mentees. The continuing program will actually give you feedback, and it's meant to be very constructive and informative. It's not a you done goofed up, but here's a better way of doing things. And finally, for this slide, we have a number of leadership development seminars. We've run a region commander seminar. We're on our second wing commander, and we just back in January had our first group commander leadership development seminars. These things are amazing. There are 2 Saturdays where we bring in experts and people that have been in these positions and have been through these difficult things to provide information, support, and guidance to those who are aspiring to be region commanders, wing commanders, group commanders, and soon, hopefully, squadron commanders. Now, we all know that sometimes command is thrust upon us, but these programs do a great job in preparing you. So I encourage you wholeheartedly, if you have any interest in any of these, when they come up, please sign up. It is a great thing. I've been through one, I've taught it one. So it is a great opportunity. So what can we do nationally? Kind of mentioned, specialty tracks. That's the #1 thing, right? Everybody is trying to get advancement on that. Education and training. We do have, in general, VOLU type education and training. Hey, I'm wanting to learn how to be a mentor, or I want to learn how to actually be a VOLU instructor. The second education and training, this is specifically for the levels. Now, while I want to stress, we can sign you up with a mentor, they're not going to be your instructor. So as you go into these relationships, understand that that person will help you get through the assignments, but you still will need to have either a virtual in residence training course, or a online asynchronous cohort, or if your wing is lucky enough to be out of phase, whatever we're in right now, you can actually do face-to-face. But let's say you're struggling with something like your capstone for level 5, or one of the assignments for logistics in level 3. That's where these mentors can really help you get an understanding, maybe give you more translated information for that. But they won't be able to sign off your courses unless they also are a VOLU instructor and they go through that. CAT career path, this is a wonderful one. Hey, I really want to be a X, Y, or Z. I want to be the next Colonel Blazich. That would be a way to get you connected to people that can help you through that career path, regardless of what it is. Connecting with subject matter experts. Sometimes you just want to know somebody who else has done the drone program? That would be where we can definitely connect you up. Flight operations, emergency services qualifications, another big one. Now, it's pretty hard to do virtual on a lot of things that are field-based, but you'd be surprised how well connected people are around the nation into opportunities that could be local to you. So definitely looking at the bookwork or helping you get prepped for things, or even starting up in a different area. Coordinating with other functional areas. How does admin and logistics work together? Dealing with difficult members. This is always a big challenge. And we have some excellent mentors who are really good at this. Most of them are either current or former wing commanders, and we all know that those are the people that really do have to deal with the great members, and sometimes not. And then pretty much anything you can name. All right, so talked a lot about overall what the program's trying to do. Let me go through a real quick summary of the circle of mentoring. So a member will come in and register to be either a mentor or a mentee. Now, there's an or there, but remember, it can be an and. I am a mentee and I am a mentor. The mentors complete their online form. Every single one of them gets interviewed and undergoes training. As I mentioned about that. We never say no to anybody who wants to be a mentor. We say, let's get you connected with somebody who can help you be a really good mentor. Because we all know sometimes we have great examples of things not to do from some people, but we want to make sure that you get that high quality connection. Once the mentors are accepted, they'll be added to the database along with the mentees. And that's where our pairing team will get together and compare the mentees to the available mentors. Another one of the big questions that we get is, well, I was approved to be a mentor, but I haven't been selected yet. Is everything okay? Yeah, we have to sometimes wait for somebody to request the specifics that you are best qualified for. So please be patient, but if you ever have a question about your status as a mentor or a mentee, please email mentoring@capnhq.gov. That goes into our shared data mailbox. We get a copy, and we do really strive to make a reply within 48 hours. We try. So once you're in there, the mentor and mentees get paired together, and then the magic happens. The mentoring group comes together. Now, one of the big things to remember is our program is designed to be mentee-led. So that's one thing to think about. If you are a mentee and you want to be mentored, make sure that you know that you're the one that will have to ask. You'll be the one that needs to instigate. However, we do make sure that the mentors know that sometimes people have to be mentored on how to be mentored, which is a real difficult task sometimes, because you don't really know what they don't know. That's what makes our mentors really superior. So the magic happens, and then the mentee decides most of the time, I've met my goal and I'm doing great. Does that mean you can never talk to that mentor again? No. As a matter of fact, now you've got a contact and somebody that you should be able to reach out to and have talks with for the rest of your time in Civil Air Patrol. We're building relationships. And some of the things that I've experienced in Civil Air Patrol, going to Region Staff College, National Staff College, or any of the national conferences or conferences just like this, you make acquaintances, you make friends, and those are people that will be with you the rest of your time. I can't count the number of times I've walked into a Civil Air Patrol event and seen somebody that I haven't seen for 20 years, but we know each other right away. That's an amazing thing. But when you've met your goal and you're ready to move on to your next thing, that way you can release that mentor to be focused on a new mentee, and you can go on to your next goal. Once that's complete, there will be an evaluation of the experience, and the mentee will get to decide the next course. And if you notice, that feeds right back up into the top, because we're really hoping that both the mentors and mentees say, you know what, I really want to do this again and start the process over. They don't have to do interviews and training, of course, but that really brings them up to that. But we also hope that the people who have been mentored turn around and look at the next generation and say, walk with me. As Major Moody said, love that line. Now, in the middle is the quality assurance and continuing ed. I've already talked about that. This is a lot of stuff. So in the middle of it all, anywhere in that disc, the continuing ed comes in, and the quality assurance. If you have an issue, reach out to mentoring@capnhq.gov, and we will make sure that it gets right. But that brings up an interesting question. Isn't that right, Major?
That's exactly right. We've been talking a lot about mentoring. I know when you and I both started in the National Mentoring Program, we were focused solely on seniors, weren't we? But I think if my memory is correct, when your very first presentation that you and Colonel Hutton gave, it was at the South Carolina National or at their wing conference.
Yes,
I think
ma'am.
so.
Yes, ma'am.
When they did, you did that presentation, I think there were a couple of cadets who were there, and they said, wait a minute, how can we join the National Mentoring Program, right? And so that started us thinking about, well, okay, what can we do? And so the very first thing that we did was we looked at that new Phase 5 cadet program, which is that focus of cadets moving to seniors. And so while that's always been a focus for quite some time with Civil Air Patrol, now the National Mentoring Committee got involved with that as well. So that's the first thing that we did. And then after that, we looked at having a relationship with the SPOTS Foundation. And so the SPOTS Association really, what their focus is they want to pair those late Phase 4 cadets with SPOTS cadets, right? To help them learn to maybe do some executive mentoring with them. Well, then after that, we thought, okay, we also have a wonderful opportunity that we can work with Phase 3 and 4 cadets. So we can teach those cadets how to be mentors to other cadets. Well, after that, we thought that's not enough. What else can we do? And on our mentoring committee, we have over 60 members, I think, on our committee, Colonel. And we have some great NCOs on our mentoring committee that really want to develop a program for cadet NCOs. But to make all of this happen, what do we need? We need more mentors, and that's where you come in, right, Colonel?
Absolutely, Major. Thank you so much. So a number of people have asked, okay, so you sold me. All right, yeah, I twist my arm. So how do I do it really? We really did try and make it simple. Out on national website, go civilairpatrol.com. We have a link here, but I'll also show you how to get there. We have a mentor application. We have a mentee application, like I mentioned. It is about the same. It's always the same questions on both sides. It takes you approximately 10 minutes to get it done, but all in all, it really is just that easy by going out to our national website, going to the members area, going to education and training, and then clicking on the mentoring. With that, that'll bring you to our main page. This is where we really want to make sure that we have all the information that we need for you, right? And the quote has been updated, I believe. But so step 3, you come onto this page and you scroll down a little from the top. You have the resources. You have CAP pamphlet 40-7. That's the mentoring program pamphlet. It has been updated and is continuously updated. You may even see some pictures of people you know in there. CAP pamphlet 40-8, moving beyond the cadet program. This is really that attempting to retain those strong cadets as they move on with their lives to become strong senior members. We have all the all of the mentoring branch job descriptions. So if you're interested in, hey, what do these people do? It's all in there. And then of course, we're all underneath 40-1 as our regulation. The next bit is the mentor information. This is where you can see the first bulleted link is the mentor application. That will click on that. That'll take you to a form where you take 10 minutes, put in the information in. Then there's a link to the mentor training. This is something you can review beforehand, but as I mentioned, we have a lot of training and continuing ed that's connected with that. So it's kind of right there. But wait, I'm wanting to be a mentee. The very next step, the very next paragraph is where you have all of that. If you scroll down a little bit more, unfortunately the picture doesn't show it, but if you scroll down a little bit more, you have the mentee application. Again, highly recommend both mentor and mentee. It's a great way to help out. And when you are a mentee, in the form, it does ask you, do you have a preferred mentor? Make sure that if you're doing a local mentoring and you'd like to get it connected to the national program, that's how you do it. In the entry, you say, hey, I want Major Fisk-Moody to actually be my mentor. Okay, now what I'm going to do is, or the pairing committee is going to do, is going to reach out to her and say, hey, do you want to do this? And then we work with that person to get fully into the program and get access to all of those critical feedbacks and training and information. So what's the big takeaway? Well, the national mentoring team is here not to replace, but to enhance. And we're here for you. Any questions, any comments, any feedback, please, mentoring@capnhq.gov. We will get the email and we will work on it. Right now, we are in the chat. So please put your information in the chat. As a matter of fact, right now, I'm going to paste in our current numbers, all of our metrics that will list all of how many mentors we have, mentees, how many have been through the program completely. The awesome thing is there's a lot of triple digits in that. So we're in the hundreds, and that's phenomenal after a year. We want more, we want to go more. But we also want to hear your stories. We want to hear this worked. We also want to hear this didn't work, don't get me wrong, but please take some time and let us know, hey, this mentor was just fabulous and this worked out really well. And those are one of the big things that we want to make sure that we keep touting. You may or may not have seen, but there's some interesting coinage out on Vanguard's website. So I'll let Major talk about that here in a minute, but keep that in mind. We have a lot of information on that. The reading materials, as we said before, are the 2 pamphlets that we have created are out there. Definitely give us feedback on that. And there's the direct link to the mentoring. Now, Major, would you like to talk about that little thing that I teased?
Oh, absolutely. Because you've already mentioned the recognition. If all of you, if any of you have any stories that you would like to share, there are many ways to recognize people. Some, all of us do what we do because we're servant leaders. We are volunteer, right? That was one of the first slides you saw from General Felka, that we are volunteer serving America. And so volunteering is why we do what we do, not to be recognized, but we do want to recognize our great mentors that we have. And one way to do that is to publish your stories. So if you'll send them in to us, we will make sure that they get published. Another way that you can, we're looking at maybe working on a ribbon because we have recruiting ribbons, right? What would be nice, and we're working on the idea of having a retention ribbon or a mentoring ribbon. And so we're working on that, but also hot off the press, and now at Vanguard, we are so excited that we now have a mentoring coin. So think of those who have been awesome mentors for you. You can go to Vanguard and pick one up. They're $6 a piece, and they're beautiful. And being part of the recognition committee, I was so blessed to be on a committee that we took in a lot of different designs that people had and pushed those forward. And we have a beautiful coin now with a big M on the front that you will be proud to give to anyone who has been a wonderful mentor to you. Colonel?
Yeah, that's, I love the coin. This is one of the things that I've really, throughout my decades in Civil Air Patrol, when I've been coined, it was always somebody up the chain or somebody in charge recognizing the good work I do. I love the idea that the mentoring program is kind of turning that on its head and saying, hey, mentees, here is a way that you can recognize your mentor. You can get one of these. I know remote, you have to give them the address, get their address from them and ship them to it, but it is such a unique opportunity to recognize and thank somebody who has helped you walk through a path. Now, as the Major said, if we were here for a paycheck, we'd be sorely disappointed. But we also recognize that volunteer paycheck is what General Felka calls it, is so important. So knowing what will make that person's day is really, really important, but giving you the options to do many things. Some people just want a pat on the back. Some people appreciate a little extra step, maybe even a handwritten note. Hey, if it's something you can do, we wanted to make sure that it was something you could do. Not saying everybody has to, but that's the beauty of the program. Same thing with the ribbons. Everybody does things for different reasons. We make it available, and that really does ensure people get that volunteer paycheck. So, Major, thank you for everything you and your committee have done. It is definitely, I think, unique in Civil Air Patrol, and something that just makes me smile that we're doing something that unique. So at this time,
thanks for joining us. I'm so glad that you came to be part of our North Carolina Wing Conference. I'm part of North Carolina, and just being part of a national program like I am, and we have so many friends now from across the country. That's what makes this unique, I think. And so having the opportunity for everyone to participate, either as a mentor or mentee, we want to share the joy that we have as being on that program. We want to be able to share that with everyone. So we're so glad that you decided to come to our presentation today. And just remember, we're here in the chat to answer any of your questions.
It's absolutely my pleasure. I wish I could meet everybody in person as well, but soon enough. And definitely thank you for everything. And I really look forward to answering your questions in the chat. So thank you, everybody. Have a great day.